Hello everybody, welcome back to the Colored Fruit Saddle channel. What a break. Shout out to my mother-in-law. She knows how much I love reading. Look, so cute. I do not drink coffee or tea, but water or orange juice is just fine. Here it's German, but it says reading time. Talking about reading time. There we go. So I'm gonna talk about, like I mentioned in my last video, my favorite series or the ones I like to reread most often. Also, I'm a bookaholic, like I mentioned. Do we really have favorite books or series? Yes and no. Just there's way too many to choose from. Number one, we have The Wild Ones by C.M. Owens. I love this series. It's not finished yet. She only released until now 3 books. She's been taking a little bit time away from writing, but as soon as she's come back, I hope she continues this series. It's so funny. The first book is just like, you think about it, is this really happening? Is this really what I'm reading? It's so funny. They live in Crazy Town in Tomahawk. Crazy family and community. I never read anything like it. In my last video, C.M. Owens was also there with Worth It. And the writing is not the same, but it's very funny, like Worth It as well. It's nothing that anybody else writes, which I really, really love. And that's what it's appealing about this series. The first book is called Becoming a Vincent, and it's about Lila, and I love that book. It's so funny. I wish the book was a little bit longer so you can know more about Tomahawk and what they really do there, because it's just like crazy town, but it's a funny read. So I do recommend this series, even though she's not finished yet. The 3 books that are out are very funny. They do not finish in a cliffhanger, so it's not like you need the other books to know what's happening to the story, because every story is about a couple, so you don't really need the other books, even if she will not write them in the future. So I recommend this series 100%. Number 2, we have another series from C.M. Owens. This one is actually done. It's a Sterling Shore. There are actually 12 books on this series, and I think 1 or 2 short stories. It's also about a group of friends/family, some cousins and so on. It's very funny. There's a couple of kids in some of the books, which, like I mentioned before, I love kids in books. They say the darnest things, and they are so funny, small kids. This series, the men on it are also crazy. Typical, I think, C.M. Owens books in this kind of genre. I really, really like them. I reread the series, maybe not all the books, but 4 or 5 of them. I reread them once, 2, 3 times a year because they're that funny. My favorite one is probably a redo, but if you ask me tomorrow, will be maybe another one. It's just, let's put it out there. I do recommend this series. The series is also finished, so if you want to start on it, you don't really have to wait for the rest of the family books because they're all out. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you have any questions about it, please let me know. Number 3, I also talked about this series on my, I think, second or third video, and it's the Reed Brothers series by Tammy Faulkner. I love this series as well. It's also about a family. I think you're seeing a little bit of a trend here. I love family series. I don't know why, I just do. This one is about 5 brothers, and then there's some other books, not just directly about the brothers, but about their friends. It's very funny as well. They all live in New York City. I like most about the first book is it talks about one of the brothers, which is actually deaf. And I like what they do to incorporate him in the daily life, because he was not born deaf. There's something that happened which made him deaf. So it is a little bit of a change. So I really like to see what usually people do to adapt to these kind of situations. It also talks about, dyslexia, which is actually a lot of issues that people deal with, deafness, the dyslexia, and so on and so forth. They are all tattoo artists, which I really like. There's a couple of short stories about them as well. One about Christmas, another one about, Valentine's Day. But overall, the books are very, very good. It takes a story forward, which I like. She finished this series, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. She planned to release some other books about some friends of them. They are not out yet. But the core of the series, which is the Reed Brothers itself, is actually all done, which I also recommend for you to read. Number 4 is the series Off Campus by Elle Kennedy. They are actually a compilation of 4 books. There's 2 of them that I'm kind of like, I read them, but not my favorite. My favorite ones is for sure the number 1, which is The Deal, and then number 3, which is The Score. I really, really love. It's a series about hockey, you know, all the guys play hockey, which I really, really love. Ice hockey. The third one, which is A Score Within, there's some kids in it, so big shocker. I really like this series. It's kind of funny. There's some real, you know, world issues on it a little bit. On the first one, The Deal. The second, which is The Mistake, and the fourth, which is The Goal, they are good. I read them, but I still, the number 1 and number 3, The Deal and The Score, is still tip top. Elle Kennedy does write a lot of, you know, series about hockey, which I don't mind, but still these two are my all-time favorites, which I recommend. Elle Kennedy also has another series called The Briar. I'm not talking about it in deep, but it's also about hockey, which is kind of funny as well. And there's good stories on it with some of the characters from the off-campus series, which is kind of good. If you want some more questions about the Briar University, please let me know, because the series is actually also good. Not as good as The Deal and The Score, obviously. Number 5, we have With Me in Seattle by Kirsten Proby. This was one of the first series that I really got into when I started in the world of e-readers and EPUBs. The first book is Come Away With Me. It was actually free on iTunes when I got it. The story was good, and then you learn about our family and brothers and people, and then there's the whole series about it. The basic series, which are actually 8 books, is about the Montgomery brothers and sisters. After that, Kristen Proby extended the series. I've read the extension. They are good or okay. I still find that the base of the 8 books, the first 8, is the best, and the extension is just, for me, it's then a little bit too many characters to remember and too much, you know, relationships or too much family connections, that at the end I was like, who is this cousin with this? Was a little bit too much. Although the 8 basis was very good. The family is also a little bit crazy with some kids. They are a mix of, you know, some of them play football, some of others are just policemen, so they are kind of like a regular bunch, let's say. One of them is an actor, but, you know, there's just one of them. I like to read this kind of series because of the family relationships are so close and which kind of character is going through. Obviously, each book is about one particular person and their relationship with their partner or whatever. And every book brings a little bit more to the story and to the whole family dynamic, which I really enjoy. I do like, one of the mottos is that for them it's kind of, blood doesn't mean anything. You know, there's a lot of families that are not related by blood and they are still families, which is quite good. And I like that message as well. So I do recommend the first 8 books. The other ones, go in your own choice. Last but not least, number 6, which is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I mean, come on, this had to be here. I love Harry Potter. I'm a very, very, very big fan. This was, I think, one of my earliest memories of reading like books when I was maybe 10 or 11, because the first one came out when I was around Harry Potter's age, to be honest. When I was 10 and 11 was when the first book came out. When I read it, actually, the second was already out as well, so I read them directly. My favorite one, that is actually not difficult to say from the Harry Potter series, is the third one, which is The Prince of Azkaban. Not the biggest one or the longest one, let's say, but I just love that book. I don't know if it's because Harry learns that he has, you know, a godfather, which is Sirius Black, coming into the story. But what I really do love about this book is the ending. So you learn about all of this life that Harry did not know, about his mom and his dad, and when they became animagos and so on and so forth. I really love it. It's one of my rereads every year. I love that book. I really do. The second most favorite would be probably the last one. I do love a good conclusion. I think J.K. Rowling did it justice. I would have loved to see, which would more be a graduation or something like that. But, you know, we cannot have everything. I really did enjoy the last one. In terms of movies, obviously I've seen them all. They are good. I watch them anyway, but still, like I said, there's nothing that compares to the real book. I have all the original books in Portuguese back home. I keep trying to get them here, actually. I love them. I still remember every time a book would come out, libraries, at least in Portugal, they would open at 12 o'clock at night. My mom would not be allowed to go there, but she said, don't worry, first thing in the morning, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, we will go there and buy the freaking book. And then I would spend the whole day reading it. I mean, after the third one, the fourth one, which is the Goblet of Fire, is huge, you know, like this thick. I remember my mom coming into my room and like having to take the book away from me because I would not stop reading it. It was that good. It's just you get addicted to it. You just want to finish it and know what's happening. The problem is, as soon as you would finish it, you would be like, what's next? I want the next one. You would have to wait another, I don't know, 1.5 years or something. It takes time to write these novels, I know it. I also saw some interviews with J.K. Rowling, which she said she could have written another 10, 15, 20 books of this series. It just gets to a moment that you really have to finish it. And that's why I admire about her. Some authors out there just keep writing and writing and writing, and you lose a little bit of the essence of the, basic of the series. And I like that you finish. So now a little bit of controversy. The last one, which is The Cursed Child, that came out a couple of years ago. I read it. Was not for me. It was just a little bit too much. I'll post some pictures here. I was in Universal Studios in Orlando in Florida like 10 years ago. I really enjoy it. You really get the whole world there. You see Dumbledore, you see the platform 9 3/4, which is a dream come true, which I really enjoyed. You're a little kid again. It's your childhood memories, which not everybody has, but to have this strong connection with this type of series. Like I mentioned, I still have the books in my mom's house, and my cousins are starting to read it now. I think this series will never die. It's just one of these things that just stays for life. Was such a big phenomenon. And also, like I said, in Universal, there's the world of Harry Potter, so people can still visit. Even you have small kids just reading it, you're kind of like, that's how the series is that good. When little kids 10, 20 years later just reading the books again that you read when you were like this small. I recommend it 1,000%. 1,000, 1,000, a trillion, a million, whatever you want to say it, percent this series. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about any of the series or you want more recommendations, please let me know. I tried to compile some of my favorite ones. Obviously, not all of them are here. Maybe in the future I'll do a part 2 of them. You never know. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time, guys.